Welcome to another SirJamesDTech video. Today I will be doing the review for the Cooler Master HAF X 942 full tower case. Alright, no better place to start than the front. Here you can see the HAF X has a cover. Right here you got the power, reset, and you can turn the fan LED off and on. Now what I would suggest, because if you're gaming or whatever at night and this starts to bother you, because these buttons are so close together, I would suggest doing something like, putting a dab of glue or something on this button, almost as like a braille method, so you'll be able to tell, which is which, because the last thing you want to do is be gaming and all of a sudden hit the reset button by accident. You got two USB 3.0 ports that look like a 57 Chevy, eSATA 1394, two USB 2.0, headphone jack, and microphone jack. Now, as I stated, this is a 230 millimeter red LED fan, and it's pretty darn good for airflow as one of two intakes. The other intake is over here, which is a 200 millimeter fan. You got a 200 millimeter fan up here, and there's a 140 millimeter fan inside. Now, these are sort of on the cheap end. The side panel and top 200 millimeter are not the red LED Megaflow fans that Cooler Master offers, and that 140, I think I'm going to switch out for one of the Slipstream 120s. It's quiet at 16 decibels, but only pulls 60.9 CFM. Now the HAF X does come, as I said, with the 200 millimeter exhaust fan here. It comes with an optional fan place here, but the fan does not come with it, so all you get is the top one over here. Now I'm going to go over this more in detail, but you can see what they tried to do here. Completely uniform with this side, and it's nice to have a window without that half of course short for high airflow. I don't know how many you can remember the other models, but it has a half right here. Okay, the side panel is kept on by thumb screws, unlike the 800D, which was just a push button, and sometimes it catches up there. See, it's bent back a little bit, so when you take off the side panel, be careful with that. Alright, you can see what I'm running with in there. Plenty of cable management holes in very much the right spots. There are 9 expansion slots, and this will be able to run 4-way SLI. There you have 3 water cooling holes. All 3 are not meant for hoses though. One of them is designated for the USB 3.0 cables to run out the back, come back into the case, out through that third hole, and then plug into the back of the motherboard. Because as of now, no motherboards have USB 3.0 headers. Now I do have to say, this toolless design is the best I have ever used in a case. It's extremely simple to install. Simply take a 5 1/4 inch drive, such as this Blu-ray drive, slide it in. I like to have the button pushed down, and then once the hole reaches the button, you can hear and feel it click, and then release, and it's locked down. Alright, for the hard drives, all you do is go like this, press it down, release it, it'll come out all the way, and you see this top one does have solid state drive support. So you gotta screw them in from the side, just push it in, locked in. And as you see, that is the only one with 2.5 inch support. But this is such a brilliant method because, as you can see, the cables are out the other side. Nowhere to be seen right here. Awesome. Okay, to remove the front panel, what you have to do is first loosen up the top. So there are 2 tabs right underneath here. You just push it up a little bit. You don't need to go too high up. Then you can start going up. And she's up. And to remove the top, there's another couple of tabs in here as well. And it just comes right off. As you can see, there's two hot swap bays, which plug right into there. And it simply requires two SATA cables and then a 4-pin Molex. Cooler Master has created a superb method for using these hot swap bays. In order to remove the bay, simply pinch down the two sides, preferably with two hands, unless you're banana hands. Once you get the bay out, fasten a 3.5-inch hard drive or 2.5-inch solid state drive in this case. By screwing in, you can either use 2 or 4 screws. I just use 2 because that's good enough. Make sure it's on nice and tight. And also, be sure it's fastened in tightly, otherwise you'll get boot failures, things like that. 2 hot swap bays are excellent. Now the Cooler Master HAF X does come with 4 wheels. However, having this case up on a desk, I'm rather reluctant to attach the wheels. Sparks, explosions, fire, and no more YouTube looms if that fate befalls me. Yeah, I know my cable management is awful, but I had to put this build together quick. I'm going to probably be taking the fan controller out anyway. I'm going to have all these running on 100%. This was absolutely crushing to me. Look at that. The CPU backplate cutout isn't big enough. And this isn't like I've got some off-brand motherboard. This is the EVGA X58 classified. I don't know what Cooler Master was thinking, not making this big enough, but it's almost as if there's not even a cutout there at all. I can't use that. So now with the heatsink reviews I got coming up, I've got to take the motherboard out. And like I said, this panel, I recognize what they're trying to do here. Have it be uniform with the other side. However, plain and simple fact is, most people's cables are going to be jumbled up right in here. So perhaps a smart thing would have been to have that jut out extend all the way over. So that instead of just having that one bump out over there, it would reach all the way over to where my fingers are. So that could be something Cooler Master could work on to improve their product even more. I'm not horribly crazy about the style. Like I said, to me it just looks like tank treads. It is better looking than the Obsidian 800D though. In that case, it's just plain boring. There are a few add-on features which I would love to mention. One of them is an additional 120mm VGA cooling fan bracket, which is right here. And what you do is, say you have the 480s like I used to have. Simply have it rest on the cards, and then place your 120mm fan right in there. Now the other thing you can use to cool your graphics cards is this 80mm VGA fan bracket. And what you gotta do, again, if you have dual slot cards, is just set it on there. They'll slip right in. See? Just go right in there. And then you tighten that clamp down, place an 80mm fan right in there. See this holes in there? And that'll cool down your Vantage runs, gaming, everything. Now, the Cooler Master HAF X is certainly one of the best cases that has ever come into my possession. Now, having 2 USB 3.0 ports, as well as 6 5.25-inch drive bays, and a very silent 230mm front intake fan with red LEDs, and a dust filter, the front panel is very capable indeed. The inside of the case is black. There's plenty of cable management holes. There's not a lot of useless compartments, so there's plenty of air inside. And also, excellent accessories in order to cool your graphics cards when benchmarking or gaming, inside of this case is truly a sight to behold. I absolutely love the toolless design for this case. The push buttons up here are okay, but the real star for the HAF X is the toolless design for the hard drives. Now there is a fair amount of room between the back of the motherboard tray and the far side panel for cable management. However, and I won't say what I really feel because I try to keep this channel fairly clean, but I am absolutely devastated that that CPU backplate cutout is not big enough. I mean, this is the EVGA classified motherboard, pretty much the standard bearer for the X58-1366 series. Personally, I believe this is borderline negligence on Cooler Master's part, and will result in a lot of wasted time for me if I decide to keep this case. Now, for those of you interested in water cooling, yes, this case does support a 360mm radiator on the top. However, if you do this, you will not be able to occupy that top 5¼ drive bay. The positives certainly outnumber the negatives. However, the negatives are not merely superficial, but also functional. And therefore, my final verdict for the Cooler Master HAF X is a stellar, but somewhat disappointing A-. Till next video, ladies and gentlemen. Talk later.